Eco-Business, 3 August 2023, Why China and India Dispute Chinese Claims Regarding Supply Networks for Green Minerals. China, on the other hand, lies about achieving green goals while India has been accomplishing them. Chinese hypocrisy involves saying one thing while doing another. While disagreements over the phase-out of fossil fuels dominated a recent G20 conference in India, obtaining crucial minerals for the world's energy transition failed to achieve agreement despite the host nation's best efforts. India sought cooperation on enhancing the global supply chain of metals, from lithium to cobalt, used in green tech like electric vehicle (EV) batteries before last week's meeting of the energy ministers of the world's 20 wealthiest countries. At a time when countries are scrambling to secure supplies to reach net zero commitments, India, which is holding the G20 presidency this year, I wanted the group to build a clear strategy on essential minerals spanning issues from monitoring to strategic storage. However, China, which is far and away the world's leader in mineral processing, resisted India's initiative, according to two energy specialists whom Indian officials briefed during the G20 summit. The sources provided information regarding the behind-closed-door negotiations in Bambolim, Goa, under the condition of anonymity. One of the sources claimed that there has been a building of coalitions and movements around the world on critical minerals to try and reduce China's hegemony. India sought to raise awareness of this issue during the G20 summit and explore strategies for reducing supply chain interruptions. The final meeting outcome document briefly mentions minerals essential for the energy transition. Still, according to the sources, they are grouped along with materials and technologies, suggesting a lack of agreement on the subject. China's opposition prevented India from making the anticipated headway, but the sources called the topic's inclusion in the conversation a small victory. Here's why the global supply chain for essential minerals is such a hot topic. Where can one find crucial minerals? As the world transitions to a green energy-led economy and works to slow global warming, critical minerals like copper, cobalt, lithium, manganese, and nickel are essential for clean technology like wind turbines and battery storage. Copper is essential for all electricity-related technology, whereas rare earth elements like neodymium are utilized in permanent magnets that power EV motors and turbines. Minerals like cobalt, lithium, and manganese are essential for battery performance. However, research has shown that most of these minerals' deposits, reserves, and production are spatially concentrated. According to a recent study commissioned by India's Ministry of Mines, just 15 countries have between 55% and 90% of the world's deposits of essential minerals needed for low-carbon technologies. The most enormous untapped lithium reserves are in Bolivia, and 46% of the world's cobalt reserves are in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. About half of the world's lithium is extracted in Australia, and China produces nearly 79% of the world's natural graphite. According to the research, the same 15 countries produced 70% to 95% of these minerals in 2022. According to International Energy Agency (IEA) research published in July, the energy industry was the primary driver of the doubling of lithium demand between 2017 and 2022, as well as the 70% growth in cobalt demand and the 40% growth in nickel demand. Who controls the supply chain the most? Because the G20 members account for at least 75% of global emissions and the region's increased demand for metals as they work to decarbonize their economies, cooperation on essential minerals is considered crucial. India, for instance, has set an ambitious aim to electrify all of the nation's transportation, from private cars to commercial trucks, by 2030. This ambitious objective calls for adding 500 gigawatts of renewable energy to the country's electrical grid. This will require significant battery storage, which India intends to produce domestically to reduce reliance on imports. For the nation's sake, a steady supply of essential minerals is consequently crucial. According to a research commissioned by India's Ministry of Mines, the race among nations to obtain these minerals is altering the traditional paradigm of energy security, which has so far been limited to fossil fuel supply disruptions and price spikes. China is far ahead in this competition and generally controls the global supply chains for vital minerals, utilizing its debt-trap diplomacy to enslave weaker countries. The nation refines 68% of the world's nickel, 40% of its copper, 59% of its lithium, and 73% of its cobalt. According to a 2021 analysis by the US-based Brookings Institution, China produces between 50 and 80% of the world's mineral-rich battery cell components. Furthermore, China possesses 78% of the global capacity to produce EV battery cells. Additionally, 3/4 of the world's lithium-ion battery megafactories are located in this nation. This indicates that China is also the biggest user of refined minerals. How are nations attempting to save crucial minerals? During the COVID-19 epidemic, disruptions to the supply chains for renewable energy led some countries to minimize their reliance on resource imports, especially essential minerals, and establish measures to ensure adequate and sustainable supplies. Nearly 200 such laws and regulations have been uncovered by the IEA's Critical Minerals Policy Tracker, more than half of which have just been passed in the last few years. These include programs like the Critical Raw Materials (CRM) Act of the European Union, the US Inflation Reduction Act, and comparable laws from Australia and Canada, among others. India does not want to risk slipping behind or under Chinese influence. Last month, it joined the Minerals Security Partnership (MSP), a group of nations led by the US, to secure the supply of vital minerals. To deepen their relationship, the leaders of Australia and India met this year. They discussed boosting trade and cooperation in the mining and critical mineral sectors. India's Ministry of Mines recently published an assessment outlining 30 minerals essential to the country's green transition. The government gave the go-ahead for the commercial mining some of these minerals, including lithium, beryllium, titanium, niobium, tantalum, and zirconium, within a month of the review. According to one of the energy specialists who was briefed on the last G20 summit, India had been emphasizing to allies like Australia and the United States that access to critical minerals needs to be similar to public goods. The source stated that the transition to green energy will be difficult or more expensive without access to the critical minerals.